Hello and welcome to another episode of Movies That Make Us. I'm Jake,
I'm Tracy.
And I'm Val.
and we are back. We are talking this week about Onward, the newest classic from Pixar, masterpiece.
Not sure I'd say the word classic, Jake. Look at Valerie's face.
So it's so funny to me because I hadn't seen the movie yet, and I had gotten both of your reactions on it on Facebook. I had seen what you guys had said about it, and then I went and saw it, and I experienced it and formed my own opinions on it. But now I've seen a lot of people who have gone to see it and like absolutely love it, and they say it's their favorite Pixar movie ever. Which I'm not ready to say that, and that's fine.
Right.
But I mean, that's what movies are about, though. You're going to have one person that absolutely hates it. You're going to have somebody be like, that's entertaining. And then you're going to have somebody be like, Sharknado is the best thing that ever happened to the world.
Wow. Really? That's
Shots
where we're going. Shots fired.
This early in the episode. Not even 2 minutes in, and we've got a Sharknado shot fired.
All I've said is I enjoy them. They make me laugh.
I didn't even say anybody's name. I just said people.
Yeah.
People, generally speaking, people.
What do you mean, you people? What do you mean?
I didn't even say you people. I just said people. Humans. All right, so Onward, Disney Pixar. It's rated PG. It has Chris Pratt, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Octavia Spencer, Tom Holland, and John Ratzenberg. Some great people. One of my favorite people.
In it? I didn't know this is what
John Ratzenberger. Yeah.
He's been in every Pixar film.
Every one. It's in his contract. Every single one.
Every single one. And this one's an interesting one because it was only in the theater for 2, maybe 3 weeks until everything started shutting down because of the coronavirus. And and so now it's gone to on demand and it's coming out to Disney Plus this weekend.
Right. So when this episode drops, it will already be on Disney Plus, and so you can go and check it out if you haven't had that chance to. This was actually the last movie that I went and saw in the theater. We went and saw it, my wife and my youngest, number 6. We went and saw it right after we got back from Disneyland. The kids were back in school. I had taken that day off of work, and we went for a little morning matinee show.
Nice.
So number 6 loves this movie, but I think it's because it was the first time that he's gone to a movie theater to see a movie.
Okay.
And so for him, he's like, yeah, it's the best movie ever because he went to the theater and he got to sit on the fancy chairs and things like that.
I definitely think your son is definitely the demographic for this as well as 30 to 40-year-old men that play Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay. I do have
my boyfriend has not seen this movie yet, but he should.
I have my dice right here.
Again, it's not a bad thing.
Here's my D20 die right here.
Oh, nice.
We're trying it out as a family. Anyway.
So this is I was really stoked about this movie because Tom Holland is in it.
Right.
It's a Pixar movie. I'm not a huge Chris Pratt fan, and I know I'm probably going to get hate mail for that. I'm just not, and I feel like he's in everything lately, and I feel like he always plays the same character. But I also, when I first saw the posters and the artwork for this movie, I was confused because I didn't know. I'm like, oh, is this is a different kind of Trolls movie? Like the way that they have the characters looking. For me, it wasn't like, ooh, this is something new. Pixar usually comes out with something that looks different from other things that I've seen before. And when I saw the posters of this, it didn't wow me. You know what I mean? So I was already kind of underwhelmed from the beginning. But what happens is Tom Holland's character and Chris Pratt's character, they're brothers. And they live in suburbia, right? So, I mean, it's like any teenager that lives in suburbia, but they live in a fantasy world. And they both lost their father. Chris Pratt, he actually met his dad, but Tom Holland's character had not met his father. And so they found out on Tom Holland's character's birthday. What's his character's name again? This is how much I love this movie.
I'll look it up.
Look it up for me. I'm on a different screen on my computer. But when on his birthday, he got a letter from his mom, both him and his brother, that says, hey, it was basically like a magical spell, which is really cool, about how to get his dad back for 24 hours, which, like, if you've lost a parent or a friend or anybody that's close to you, to have them back for 24 hours so you could see them, you could talk to them, you could ask them anything you want. Like, this kid was stoked. Plus magic. Like, the brother that's really into D&D was, like, totally all about it. They don't call it D&D.
It's magic and lore or something.
Yeah, like,
something lore.
Instead of magic gathering and D&D, it's called something else. But it's totally that. It's totally what you think it is.
Yeah.
And things go wrong, and chaos ensues, and, like, a lot of what the game happens comes to real life. So his brother actually is a real help to them. It took me about 30 minutes to get into this movie. You know, I'm watching it, and I just was like a little bit bored until about 30 to 40 minutes in, and then the whole last 30 minutes of the movie got me. And of course, the last 10 minutes of the movie, I'm bawling because it's a Pixar movie, and you're bawling. But, like, usually for me, my take on it, when I go to see a Pixar movie, I'm in from the beginning and I'm hooked. Like, from the minute the music starts, I'm, you know, glued to it. And for this one, I was just kind of like, you know.
Yeah. So Ian Lightfoot is Tom Holland's character, and Barley is Chris Pratt's character. So I agree with you, Val, that, like, it did look a lot like what we had seen with Trolls, or, like, it felt like Pixar's.
It made me think of DreamWorks.
Yeah, it was Pixar's attempt to keep up with what DreamWorks has been doing, and that, for me, is not what Pixar is typically about, because they're typically about doing their own thing, and and there's always that potential that if they're trying to keep up with somebody else, that it's not going to work out as well for them, because they're trying to outdo or perform more in somebody else's sandbox or in somebody else's world almost, and it doesn't really work.
Well, and that's what I thought too. And then I was watching Disney Plus a couple of weeks ago, and they have this new show on Disney Plus where you actually get to see behind the scenes of somebody that works for Disney. And they did one on Onward. I think it's called Backstage, or One Day. Oh, Disney One Day or something.
One Day
at Disney. One Day at Disneyland. And they did Onward, and the guy and the lady who actually wrote this, it is based on a lot on his life. And his relationship with his dad and his brother, and they started working on this film like 5 years ago. So it did have a different feel, which we like about Pixar, is that it's different, but it wasn't different that it was new. It was different in that we had seen it, and it wasn't different enough for me.
Right. So here was my main disappointment. Like, this should have hit me on multiple levels. I've got a brother, I've got a parent who passed away, I'm already a nut about Pixar, and all of these things should have worked, and they just kind of fell flat to me. This is the first Pixar, it's the same director who did Monsters University, which was just kind of okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
But this one just hit every trope along the way. It's a road movie, it's a family movie, and there was nothing. Usually Pixar gets me with something. They do something to surprise me, and I go, I didn't see that coming. And here, everything I thought was going to happen happened, and it was just very straightforward. It was very kind of mediocre to me, and it's really frustrating because it could have worked. It really, really, really could have worked, and to me, it just fell flat.
Well, what I want to see happen is I want them to do like a series or a short about the mom Longfoot and the Manticore. Like, I thought their interaction together of these two different women, that was really fun. Like, there were some fun parts of the movie. You know, there were there's also like a little you know, there are other movies, like they do some hints to other movies inside of this movie.
Lord
that I was like,
Rings.
oh, okay. Lord of the Rings. They did one where, you know, he's walking on the invisible
like
bridge
Indiana
that reminded
Jones.
me of Indiana Jones. Like, there was a lot of things in it that I was like, okay, I really like this. But again, like you, I was like, I wanted to like it more, Tracy. It should have hit you, definitely you, more than any of us. And for me, again, the last 30 minutes was great. It took a long time to get me there. And I just thought, like, Chris Pratt was okay. I think anybody could have played the brother. Like,
I liked him better than Tom Holland. I thought Tom Holland was fine. Chris Pratt made me laugh in a couple places. It reminded me of his character from Parks and Rec.
Oh, see, I haven't watched that show. So.
It
was very like
me
Andy Dwyer. Yep.
Very much like Andy Dwyer, but it was a one-note performance through the whole movie. He just was exactly the same the whole way through. So while I enjoyed it, it's very forgettable to me.
Yeah, I think anybody could have played those two characters. I don't I don't think the actors brought so much to it that I couldn't see somebody else playing it. Right. You know, when you see something like the Genie and you're like, oh no, like that is Robin Williams. Genie and Robin Williams are one person. Like I don't see that in these two characters in the film.
Right. Yeah. I don't know that bothers me so much though with a Pixar film, because when I think of like other movies that they've done, I don't know that any of the actors stand out so much that I feel like that role is tied to them as an actor. Like in Up, I love Up and I love the characters in Up, but I don't know that I feel like anybody else could have played those characters and they still would have been just as poignant for me.
But I think that they hired these two characters specifically so people would go to theaters. Like in the other movies,
reminds me of DreamWorks.
Yeah. For these other movies, like Disney will do it a lot where they will have unknowns or they will specifically have people that are celebrities trying to drive a film. Pixar hasn't really done that in the past. They've had, people, but the fact that you have two of the Avengers in your movie, in the same, so I just feel like they did specifically put them in these roles knowing that people would want to go see them, when really they could have saved some money and put two other people in this film, and I think I would have felt the same about it.
So I connected with the movie pretty quick, and I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I think part of that is I've always loved fantasy novels and that whole genre, and so for me it resonated in that aspect. I disagree as far as everything I expected to happen happened. I think the ending was not what I expected. I expected something very different. Not very different, but I expected the moment that happens at the end, I expected to be different. And I liked that it wasn't what I expected.
I did like the ending. Again, the last 30 minutes of the film just got me, man.
Yeah. So for me, I think I enjoyed this movie probably more than I thought I was going to, because I felt like it looked very similar to what we had seen from other studios. And I worry about Pixar trying to do something. Like, I feel like Brave is an example of that, right? Brave was Pixar trying to do a Disney princess movie. Well, I don't want Pixar to do a Disney princess movie. Let Disney continue to do those, and that's fine. So I was hesitant about it, but I enjoyed this a lot.
I'm very interested. Go ahead, Val.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that their next film, Soul, looks very interesting to me, because that one looks very unconventional. About a jazz musician who basically dies and goes to kind of a purgatory and is trying to come back to life.
So like Coco?
Kind of.
It'll be interesting to see. And then the cowboy dancing other soul thing that was there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I really want to watch this. I don't think that this is a movie that you need to see in the theater, so I think it's okay that it's being released.
Which is good, because you can't now.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, that's usually how I say you should go see in the theater opening weekend. You should go see it on $5 Tuesday, or you should wait to rent it. This is one of those movies that you want to rent. You want to get the kids with pizza and popcorn, and you just want to sit in the living room. And this would be so enjoyable in a living room environment when you have kids really excited about something. I really want to watch it with my boyfriend, because he is so much into fantasy. And he is so much into these role player games that this movie is based on, that I think I'll have a different perspective, because I went and saw this movie by myself. And you guys know that usually gives me kind of a weird vibe, because I like to experience movies with someone and feel that off of them. So I think it'll be interesting to, if I have a different take on it after, I'll make sure that I write about it. But, he's not really into animated movies, but I'm going to make him watch it, because that's what a girlfriend does. And we're going to sit down and watch it, and I want to get his take for sure.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear what he thinks about it, because he may not be into animated movies, but I think from what you've said, this sounds like something that's going to hit on a lot of what he is into.
Yeah, for sure.
So can we talk about one thing, though, on this that totally caught me off guard and by surprise? I one of my favorite things about going to a Pixar movie is the animated short at the beginning. And I was not prepared for this animated short at all. And I was so disappointed. And it's not because I'm anti-Simpsons, because I'm not. I just wasn't expecting it to be a Simpsons short. I wanted a Pixar short.
See, I went to the preview critics
short
screening, and they did not have a short.
Oh, really?
So okay. We haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
So, and it's not that it's a bad short. So I went, it wasn't the preview screening. It was just a normal theatrical screening, and fully expecting a Pixar short like Lava, like Bow, like those that have been on there in the past. And it was a Simpsons short. It was I
forgot they did that.
Little short about Maggie and this little boy that she falls in love with at the park, and Homer is stupid and keeps bringing her to the wrong park and whatever. And it was fine.
Do you think they did that because now they have all the Simpsons episodes on Disney Plus?
Yes. Yep. And that was them trying to cross market,
promote,
and cross promote, and it just felt weird. And again, it wasn't a bad short, and I'm not anti-Simpsons. It just wasn't what I was expecting or what I was hoping for. And so I'm interested to see.
Now I'm gonna have to go watch it.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll put that short on Disney Plus as well.
It's called Playdate.
Yeah.
It's called Playdate with Destiny, is what it's called.
Yeah.
So, and it's on YouTube.
And again, it was a cute.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's a cute little short. It's not. I have nothing against it except that I wanted a Pixar short. I love their little shorts, and it wasn't that. And I think that right there almost set the mood for me to not want to like this movie, and maybe that's why I liked it more than I thought I would, because it was like, well, this is going to be really lame. They're already doing a DreamWorks movie, and now they've got Simpsons at the beginning. This isn't going to be Pixar at all. And I think there was enough Pixar in there that it won me back over. So.
I did like all of the magic. I just felt like I kind of wanted more magic than road trip. Like I felt like there was so much driving. Okay, we get it. Like you're having trouble with all of this, but like there's all these really cool magical things that are in the world that don't know how to be magical. I think that's such a great plot for a movie. Like magical things that have lost their magic, that have forgotten how that they are like the magical things, like unicorns eating out of trash, like garbage bucket, because they have no idea that they're unicorns. Like that, like this. It's definitely a very interesting idea. I feel like they could have pushed it a little bit harder with, the fantasy. This is an animated movie set in a fantasy world, and you're trying to make it a little too much like real life.
It was a little too suburban. Yeah.
I think and that's a good point. I do think they tried to put too much in the movie, because it wasn't just like, I love that premise of this is a fantasy world where everybody's forgotten about magic. But then on top of that, like you said, Val, it was also a buddy movie. It was a car trip movie. It was about them getting to see their dad again. And I kind of feel like, we took too many different plot ideas and story ideas and put them into one movie, and didn't necessarily connect all the dots very well. Because at the end, everybody's getting back into magic, but I didn't get the connection as to why necessarily. You know what I mean? Not as well as I should have.
Exactly. Well, and like the Weekend at Bernie's vibe that was in there with the dad. That was fun, but I only needed to see it like 1 or 2 times. I didn't need to see it 7 times.
Yeah. Right. Well, and there were a lot of those gags that worked really well. Like I loved it when they showed up at the Manticore's lair, and it was basically a Chuck E. Cheese that she was running, and like even the character and costume and everything. And I loved that kind of stuff. I loved the Pixies biker gang. Like that was great.
I hope they do a short of the Pixies.
Yes, I would love to see more of those characters, but I wish the movie was more about that than, because it was too many different things at once.
Yep.
Yeah, you're a manticore. You're like one of the most fierce beasts of all time, and you're feeding pizza to little whiny, screamy kids. Like that's the worst nightmare ever. Yeah, I mean that her whole storyline was one of my favorites. And the Pixies,
You're feeding pizza to little kids and getting yelled at by Karen. Like, that's not what a Manticore should be doing.
You could kill Karen.
Yeah, exactly. You should be yelling at Karen. So, and I think they could have done that without, like, if the letter had been more, hey, you can do magic. I used to do magic. Here's how you can do it. And it was them on a quest to like find magic instead of bringing their dad back.
Yeah.
I think that would eliminate a little bit more of the stories that got mixed in there and maybe made it a little bit more cohesive. I don't know.
Yeah. It couldn't decide what outfit it wanted to wear. It was wearing all of them. Could I be wearing any more clothes?
Yes. Yeah. So, but I mean, it was still a fun movie. Like I said, my son loved it. I think my other boys are going to like it.
But again, it's a movie that in the theater, I don't think it's as fun as, hey, let's get all the kids, and let's sit around the big screen and be in our PJs, and we're going to laugh together, and we're going to have popcorn, and there's a little bit of interaction going on, because there are some lulls where in a theater you kind of get lost, but at home, like, you don't notice those lulls, because you're talking and laughing and all that, reenacting things, and that's fun.
This is the kind of movie that I feel like, just going off that vibe, like I would have loved picking this movie out at Blockbuster as a kid, bringing it home, and we had the pizza, and then we'd sit and we'd watch the movie on VHS. This movie would be perfect for that. But
and then you take the big long wrapping paper rolls out from the closet or under the bed, and you're making staffs with the kids, like that. Like, this is that kind of movie. Like, you can get super creative and fun with it, but I just think it plays better as a home film than it does a theater film.
Yeah,
I can agree with that.
Yeah, it's fine. It's to me, it's just fine. It's okay, and I kind of hold Pixar to a higher level. Than that. It's like, just being okay isn't good enough, Pixar. You need to be doing what you're supposed to be doing. This was kind of.
Would you see it's your least favorite Pixar movie, Tracy, or would you put there some others that go under that?
Put it a little more in the middle. Monsters University, I really didn't care for. Cars 2 was the worst.
Cars 2 didn't even need to happen.
Good night. So, I mean, it's not like they're got a perfect record, but when you've got Inside Out and Up and Ratatouille and WALL-E, and this was just kind of, it was okay.
And it was really cool because Megaplex invited me to go do the marathon. And they had it on a Saturday, which was so nice because I could go to all of it. And so, we started out at 6:30 in the morning, getting there, checking in, and then the first movie started at 7, and so I got to see all the big Pixar movies, like Toy Story and WALL-E and Ratatouille and all these things. And then you get to this one, and like you said, it's kind of like, it was good, but all of these other ones had made you feel everything, and then this one's just kind of like, all right, well, it's kind of like your 8th grade year in junior high. It's not the worst year of junior high, but that there's something better that could happen,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And what's interesting when you talk about your least favorite movies, Tracy, both of them that you mentioned were sequels. And I feel like when Pixar is at its best, it's doing an original story that's not a sequel.
And Toy Story 2.
Or 3 or 4.
Okay,
sorry,
with the Toy Story series as an exception, but really, I mean, you look at it, Incredibles 2 was not as good as Incredibles. Cars 2 was awful. Monsters University had cute moments, but it was not as good as Monsters Inc. And so most of the time, those are, when they're trying to build on it and do these sequels, they're usually not as good as the original. But this was an original. This wasn't a sequel.
Yeah.
And for me,
but it felt like I had seen this movie before. Even though it was original, it didn't feel original to me.
Yeah.
I think one hard thing about it for me is Pixar is their animation has become so refined and so beautiful. Like, I think back to Toy Story 4 that we saw last year, and the rain scene at the beginning was amazing. And the animation was incredible throughout.
And then you see this and you think you're watching Smurfs. I feel like I was watching
Smurfs.
Yes. It was very similar in style and look to Smurfs or Trolls. And there's nothing, and like How to Train Your Dragon, those movies are fantastic. But the animation is not the same level as what we see with Pixar, and I think that was a struggle for me as well. Like, I enjoyed the movie. I think I liked the story, and I think I'm gonna enjoy watching it with my kids coming up this weekend, but it wasn't the same level of quality that we've seen.
I told somebody, I said it felt like the old Pixar brain trust would have killed this movie and started over, like they did with Ratatouille, like they did with some of the other films. Good Dinosaur slipped through somehow, but it seems like this was a movie that previous Pixar would have said this isn't good enough, and for some reason they continued with this one. And I'm sounding really, really harsh. I thought it was okay, but again, it felt very familiar. It felt very safe. It didn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form, and it had so much potential, and it just felt flat to me.
Kind of a downer, Tracy.
I know. Usually I'm like the Pixar cheerleader here.
So now that everybody that's listening is so excited to go back and watch this on Disney Plus.
No, I think you definitely should. I'm going to be rewatching it again. I don't dislike the film. I actually enjoy the film, but like Tracy said, it's just I expected a little bit more. It feels like Smurfs, which I don't really enjoy. I like the original Smurfs, but like the movie Smurfs, I'm not really into that. But I think I'm going to have a better experience with watching it with somebody that I know is going to react in some sort of positive way when all of the nerdy things happen, and also being in my PJs, or what I like to call my day pants, in my, on my couch with some popcorn.
Yeah. My PJs are what I like to call my day pants. I like that.
Day pants, like I take my night pajama pants off in the morning and I put my day pajama pants on.
That kind of stuff is important. Like, I have made sure every day that I go to work that, like, I get up and I still follow my same showering routine and things like that. So I feel like I'm going to work.
I should probably shower. That reminds me.
But this is, for me, I enjoyed this movie. I think most people are going to enjoy this movie. I think you should definitely check it out on Disney Plus. I feel like I enjoyed this like I enjoyed Wreck-It Ralph. And I think if you're going in to expect it to be like Up or like Ratatouille or like some of the greats that Pixar has done, you're going to be disappointed. But if you go in expecting it to be the same quality, same look, almost in style even as Wreck-It Ralph, you'll be okay.
Yeah, not Wreck-It Ralph 2 though, because that did make me Ralph.
That was not good. The first one was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
I liked the first one quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I went in going, I don't know, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, so the second one just has the princess scene is probably the saving grace of the second one.
That
and with
was
the Disney
brilliant.
princess, like, are you guys okay? Should I call someone? Like,
have you been poisoned? Yes. Kidnapped? A man explain everything to you? Yeah, that scene was brilliant for sure. So,
and if you haven't watched Toy Story 4, that is on Disney Plus, and I've watched it twice since it's been on Disney Plus. You definitely need to check that out because it's just so great, man.
It's so good, and that was one that I was afraid of. That one I went in thinking, what story is there to tell? And there was a story left to tell on that thing.
Yeah.
Now I hope this is the end, though. I hope there's not like some surprise Toy Story 5.
Yes. I wouldn't mind a short or two, but I hope that they don't.
No, I love the shorts. I love the shorts, and I like the Sporky Ask Sporky.
Yeah.
I think those are really cute.
Yeah, those are good.
Well, and I'm glad that Disney is starting to put some of these sooner out on Disney Plus, understanding the situation that we're in. Like Frozen 2 came out earlier on Disney Plus, which my girls have loved and watched a million times, which is great. Although I am convinced after Frozen 2 that Kristoff is the greatest prince character in all of Disney. I want to see
Kristoff shorts. Like, yes. I just want to follow Kristoff through his day.
I tell my girls all the time, you need to marry a Kristoff. I don't care. Like, as long as he's going to treat you like Kristoff will and will love you like he loves Anna, like... Listen, I set the standard high, all right? If anyone bring home a Prince Hans, though, that's not...
they're going to bring one or two home, like, for a short period of time.
Yeah. and I'll just tell them like, listen, this is not okay.
You're
And
gonna say you should have, like, as they walk into the house with their first dates, you should have a Han sign and a Kristoff sign. So as they're at dinner and you guys are having a conversation, you can just pull the sign up without saying anything, look at the girls, and then slowly put it back down. They'll understand, and you don't even have to have a conversation.
That's perfect. This is a
welcome.
great idea.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Please do not send me the therapist bill.
I am hoping though to hear that they put Star Wars on sooner, because Rise of Skywalker you can buy it now, but it's not. I haven't heard when it's coming on Disney Plus or if it will.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I know it will eventually. I just wondered if they would do it sooner, but yeah, it's good to see companies trying to adapt and trying to help out with what's going on, and I love that they're
crazy time.
We're helping out by giving you guys more content to listen to. You're welcome.
Yes. Welcome. I know it seemed like we went missing, that we had maybe been lost to the COVID-19. No, we're good. We're just getting everything ready to go. Yeah. Although, Tracy, I think you survived it.
I don't think I got the COVID. I never had any breathing problems, but I had a chest cold for a week, and it was awful.
Yeah.
Like I kept coughing and dry mouth and headaches and plus I had allergy attacks on top of that. So that was fun. And then it was in the early days, because I was sick 2 weeks ago. I first got sick about 3 weeks ago. And I called into one of the COVID hotlines, and they said, well, if you're not having trouble breathing, don't come, just stay home and ride it out. So I don't think I had it, but what I had was not fun.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't want COVID. I've read some reports as to what it's like, and it sounds miserable. So
I hope nobody's out there just trying to get it.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants it.
Well, those spring breakers were.
Yeah, one thing that I've learned from all of this is that nobody understands what age any generation is. Because I keep hearing about the spring breakers and those dang selfish millennials. Listen, man, millennials haven't been college age for a couple of years at least now.
Yeah, Gen Z, man.
Millennials are like my age. I'm a millennial. We've got the kids, and we're trying to homeschool them. We're not out partying down in
it's just a lot easier to blame millennials than say those Gen Z kids. Those Gen Z. Like, we need to give them a better, like, easier name that, like, rolls off the tongue, like dicks.
Yeah, well, so far that's what they've been through all of this.
Generation dicks.
The millennials are your IT guys that are getting you set up so you can work from home. The millennials are the ones that are like, let me show you how to use Zoom for the 14th time. That's the millennials.
Well, see, and it's a good thing I'm a Gen X, because we just get forgotten about all the time.
I know. They're quietly like, yeah, millennials are the worst. Yeah, baby boomers. Nobody say anything.
I'm right in between. I'm on the cuspy of both of the millennial Gen X. But I feel like I relate more to millennials than Gen Xers. So.
Yep, Gen X back in the day with the plaid and the Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. And...
So upset about everything, man.
Yeah. Those were the
like quietly upset about it, like you're upset on your couch about it, you know. I hate everything. Can you turn it up?
Before the quarantine happened, I had a fellow coworker who was talking about, can't remember if it was Pearl Jam or if it was Soundgarden or somebody.
Same thing.
He's like, oh yeah, classics. Like, that was the music of my college days, man.
Listen,
and then I go, oh, but college was like 20 plus years ago.
I remember there's a radio station here in Salt Lake, and I won't name it because it's not Val's radio station, so I don't want to give him any publicity, Val. So.
Hey, thanks.
But they are the station that plays like all the classic rock, right? And I remember growing up, it was like the
John
best.
Smith's
show? Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. We can talk about the Johns.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Arrow 103.5, and they've started now advertising, the best hits of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and I'm like, wait a second. My music is now being played on like the classic rock station. I'm officially old. And that's when it hit me, not the six kids that, like, the oldest is now a teenager, but it was my music being on the classic rock station. I was like, oh man.
That's when it really hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
feel your
So,
pain.
do you guys want to grade this sucker or what?
yeah, let's grade it. Let's grade Onward. What do you guys give it?
What do you give it, Val?
I give it a B minus.
Okay.
I'm going C minus.
Wow.
Yep.
I know you said earlier you didn't hate it, but I feel like a C minus is a lot of shade, man.
Maybe a C, but yeah.
Don't go back on your grade. I mean,
if that's
this is like the kid who has the potential to be the 4.0 student and instead turns in C minus work.
No, this is the kid that could be the A plus student, but he forgets to hand in his work.
Yes.
Like he only does the bare minimum.
Yes, I don't feel like he really did a lot of work. You're exactly right. It kind of felt like they did the minimum.
Oh wait, that assignment was due. I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was that kid in high school, so I'm gonna give this one a B plus.
Okay.
No,
right.
I enjoyed it. I think a lot of it hit home for me on what I am into and what I like. It's not perfect. It's not. I mean, a Pixar movie I would normally give an A, and this isn't that. But a B plus. I still liked it quite a bit.
Cool.
So.
All right.
All right. Well, that's our show for this week. We will be back
have another one next week.
Yes, we will. Woo! Everybody be good to each other out there. It's hard. Be kind.
Stop hoarding toilet paper. I can't find any.
If you need some, let me know. I can hook you up, man.
Not that I've got
we just bought another pack the other day. We're not hoarding, but we've got some, so let me know.
We do want to know what you are binging and what you want us to talk about, though. So if you have a show or a movie and you were just like, oh my gosh, I just found this gem again because we're sitting around and we forgot this movie existed, will you guys talk about it? Let us know. Let us know what streaming system you saw it on so that we know where to find it. Or if there's a TV show that you're binging that you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, it's amazing. Of course, we want to know. We want to know what you thought about Onward as well.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I on Netflix I found The Mask of Zorro. Hadn't seen that in forever, and I enjoyed it way more than I remembered enjoying it. Like,
we should do a show about Zorros.
We could do that.
I would love to do a show about Zorros, but all right.
And Hobbs and Shaw's on HBO right now.
I've already watched it 7 times. Hobbs and Shaw. Favorite.
Yeah, there's good stuff out there, and I think we're going to see more content getting pushed to the digital stuff much more quickly. And
that was my Sharknado dance, by the way.
Sharknado dance.
No, I got Jake to dance.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we won't see you at the movies because we can't. So, but yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye.
This has been a Stolen Droids Media production.